So Wendy Williams' divorce has been heating up for the last several weeks. It finally came to a head last Thursday when Wendy finally came around and she filed for divorce. And it's one of those things where you can tell somebody, you can say something to somebody, a woman, and be like, it's time, you need to leave that man, you need to leave that man. But until a woman is completely fed up, she ain't going nowhere. And Wendy has a lot to lose. So I think for a while, Wendy has been planning her exit. I do. I think she's a smart woman. I think that she was just trying to put everything in place before she made her move. And I think that baby was I'm sure the baby was the last straw. And the fact that not only did he have this baby with Sharina Hudson, but then he went out and bought her a nice Ferrari after the fact, I guess for pushing out this baby of his. So, a person like Wendy has to move a little smarter. And because she has so much to lose, remember, Wendy Williams is worth about $60 million. And Kevin is all up and through her business. Okay, so she has to move a little smarter. And in the words of Charlamagne, who I'll talk about later, you should never bite the hand that feeds your side chick. And basically, that's what Kevin Hunter did. Now, recently, I believe as far as yesterday, Kevin Hunter came out and he put out a public statement regarding him and Wendy. He says, 28 years ago, I met an amazing woman, Wendy Williams. At the time, I didn't realize that she would not only become my wife, but would also change the face of entertainment in the world. I have dedicated most of our lives to the business empire that is Wendy Williams Hunter, a person that I truly love and respect unconditionally. No matter what the outcome or the future holds, we are still the Hunter family, and I will continue to work with and fully support my wife in this business and through any and all obstacles she may face living her life of sobriety, while I also work on mine. I ask that you please give me and my family privacy as we heal. So anyway, I see what he was doing there. He was laying the groundwork where he's talking about fully support his wife in this business. He met her 28 years ago. I mean, he's putting the right words in there, for future reference. Remember, because they are definitely going to have a contested divorce when it comes to this money. All right. And so he needs to make sure that the public knows that he's been with her from the beginning. In other words, he was shooting with her in the gym. Okay. And so he's letting everybody know that because he is definitely out to get his cut. And I'm sure Wendy has a lot of receipts that she's been gathering over the years. All right. It was alleged a while ago that Wendy hired a private investigator to basically follow him around. All right. And I'm sure a lot of this stuff that we're just finding out, Wendy has known for a minute. But, like I said, a lot of us, we don't have what she has. So a lot of us would have been out of the door a long time ago. She probably has to plan more of a strategic exit. And she's been saving face for a minute. But don't believe for a second that Wendy didn't know a lot of this that's been going on. There's no way that she didn't know that Sharina Hudson has been her husband's side piece for 10 years. There's no way. There's no way. Wendy has the means to hire somebody to basically follow him around. And a lot of this stuff was probably put out, over the years by Wendy herself. All right, which leads me into this next part. The Tasha K interview. So Tasha K put out a part 1 and a part 2, and she was talking to this singer, Aveon, who has a beautiful voice, by the way. He reminds me of Brian McKnight. But I didn't even know. Now, listen, I'm being honest. I don't know if y'all agree or y'all know. I didn't know who this guy was. I've never even seen him. I have not. I didn't know who he was. But apparently, he had made, an appearance on the Wendy show or something like that. He was in the audience, and Kevin Hunter liked his voice, and he decided to manage to sign him. And Aveon is alleging that they had some kind of sexual affair, that he and Kevin Hunter were sleeping together. And I remember when the interview dropped, I think it was like kind of in the middle of the night or something like that. I got the notification on my phone and, I was like, I turned it on. I'm still half asleep. And that thing, I sprung up out of the bed so fast when I was hearing this. I'm like, wait, what did I hear? And then I wasn't even looking at the screen. And I finally started actually looking at the screen and I'm looking like, and he got a whole wife sitting there like nodding along as he is saying that he would sleep with this man, and he was real explicit about it. Now, when I first heard this interview, I got to be honest, I wasn't completely convinced. Not to say that I wasn't convinced that he was actually having an affair or sleeping with the man. I'm not. That wasn't the part. It was just, for me personally, I felt like he was putting a little too much sauce on the story. Like he was just doing too much in that first part of the interview. And so, I was just on the fence about him. I really was on the fence because, like I said, these days, people will do a lot to get put on to get some clout. I don't know why anybody would, in fact, come out and say this kind of stuff, which is why I was more inclined to believe him, because what man do you know is going to come out and allege that he had an affair with another man? Not many of them. I'm not really big on this exposure culture that we live in, and I'm going to do a separate video on that, and I'm going to kind of tie this into it. But that's why I was kind of like, okay, maybe he's telling the truth, because I don't know too many men that's going to come out and say what he just said. Like who? I don't know. Especially that he's not full on gay. Saying he has a wife. So that's why I'm like, I don't know how many men will do this. And so when I listened to part 2, I was convinced that Aveon is in fact telling the truth. Now in part 2, Aveon starts to allude to other stuff. He brings Charlamagne into the story. All right. Apparently he knows Charlamagne. There's like all kinds of like connections. It's all kinds of connections in this whole Wendy Williams thing. You got Charlamagne, you got Wendy Williams, you got Sharina Hudson, who seems to know all of these people, by the way. And Sharina has this long past with Charlamagne as well. They know each other from South Carolina. And so as Aveon was speaking in the second part, as I'm sitting there watching his wife tear up them grapes. I mean, she was really digging in them grapes. It makes me want some of these cotton candy grapes. I've never even heard of that. But let me get back. I really was believing Aveon, okay, and what he was saying. I believe that because to me, he was definitely trying to make sure that if there was something that he could not answer, like he didn't really know, he wasn't trying to like put on like, oh yeah. If he didn't know the answer to that and Tasha asked him something, he said, oh, I don't know about that. And that's why I started like, okay, maybe this guy telling the truth. He's not just answering for the sake of answering and being on camera. If he doesn't know anything about what she's talking about, Sharina's this or what Charlamagne was doing on this, if he didn't know, he didn't answer that. And I appreciate that he did not, because that made me think he was a bit more authentic in this particular part. And so, yes, Tasha K's interview has made all the blogs. Tasha K's interview is everywhere. You got to give it to her. I know a lot of people don't care for her style of interview. I think she's gotten a little stronger as being an interviewer, but she finally made the blogs. And it also, surprisingly enough, this particular story made it to none other than the Breakfast Club, where none other than Charlamagne had to go ahead and kind of answer some stuff. And so I'm going to go ahead and play this for you. It's not the video because I don't want to get a copyright strike, but I'm going to play the audio. And go ahead and listen to this and I'll come back.
Well, Aveon Foster, who is a singer that Kevin Hunter signed, has now gone on a show, Tasha K, on Wine with Tasha K, and done a sit-down interview where he talks about his relationship with Kevin Hunter, and it's not what you think. It appears that it was not just a business relationship. They were actually, according to Aveon Foster, allegedly having gay sex.
Jesus. He was like, come on, get in the tub. Let me talk to you. I was like, no, I ain't gonna get in the tub. So I said, I'm gonna go in the clay room. Mind you, when I'm in this clay room, I said, this could come in here in the next 2 minutes, fully dressed, telling me to go. He's gay. This motherfucker came in there in less than a minute and told me, he said, let's go. So the next time we went in there, both of us got naked. Both of us got in the tub. We was talking, we was building. When we got in that sauna, that's when we both performed fellatio. And that's when we both did each other in the...
In the what?
But
I don't know if any of this is true, but if it is, Kelvin Hunter is really putting the brown in Brownsville.
Have you heard any of these allegations previously?
From Aveon, yeah.
Okay, so you know him.
What is the clay room, though? Like, what room is that?
Well, what is a clay room?
I don't know.
I don't know, but it sounds cool. Because clay is cool.
Okay.
All right, now, Aveon Foster also talks about, allegedly, one of the reasons that Kevin Hunter has a problem with Charlamagne is because he saw some messages between Charlamagne and Wendy Williams.
Oh, God.
Kevin does not like Charlamagne because of something that happened with Nikki, and Nikki don't like Charlamagne because of something that happened with those two.
And you sure it's not something that happened with Wendy Williams? Okay, so what I was told from the grapevine is that a phone was left open and some text messages were revealed between Charlamagne and Wendy Williams. All right, allegedly. Charlamagne wants to tell his story.
He would tell his story.
About
allow him to do that.
Allegedly having, put that camera on me, about Charlamagne allegedly having an affair with Wendy Williams when he was the co-host.
You smashed Wendy?
Negro, please. I haven't spoken to Wendy in 10 years, and we were definitely not texting 10 years ago.
Okay. Anything else in there too, or is there a rumor going around about you and Wendy Williams?
I've never heard that rumor.
We did see the picture.
What picture?
You sitting on Wendy's lap.
It was more like on her knee. Stop it. It was on her knee. You know how people play horsey with their kid? Okay, so that's a rumor. That's not true.
If that's a rumor, that's a new one to me.
Okay, so it's not true.
No.
Okay. And in addition to that, she also had Aveon Foster was also saying that from what he heard, the reason that some of these previous allegations have been exposed, there were some rape allegations against you, was because Kevin Hunter was behind that, trying to harm you. So was this something you had heard? Because...
Clear that up. I didn't hear what you said. Say that again. I was confused.
Well, for the record, when I said I know what you did last summer, this is what I was referring to.
Okay. Kevin's behind the whole thing because of some beef Nikki got with Charlamagne, and Charlamagne don't even know what Nikki mad about. But when I was in Kevin's office, sitting back and forth between me and him, just like this,
okay,
I was like, man, why are you doing this, man? He said, sometimes you just got to do something for the family, man.
Now you're talking about the allegations involving Charlamagne that reappeared via media, okay, of him supposedly raping.
Right, which is totally false. But I was there when I was on tour, on the Wendy tour. Kevin was right on the phone organizing the store.
All right, so
one thing that young man said that's true but not completely true is I didn't sue Kevin Hunter and Danny Astoria, but my lawyers did serve Kelvin Hunter and Danny Astoria last year cease and desist because I was alerted to the fact that they were allegedly behind that smear campaign labeling me as a rapist.
You could have sued them though then.
I mean, I still can.
He still can. I'm sure he will.
You know, I mean, listen, I've known this since last July. You know what I'm saying? That's why I said I know what you did last summer. And I've always spoken about the criminal sexual conduct charge I caught in 2001. Even wrote about it in my first book, Black Privilege. But I've always been vocal about the fact that I took a DNA test, which is public record, which you can go look up. All of this is public knowledge, and my DNA was not found in that young woman's rape kit. There's nothing else to discuss.
Okay, now here's something that we never have discussed.
What?
Right here.
Lord.
And I also heard Charlamagne likes to be pegged, allegedly. And so one of the models that was hanging with Sharina, he was dating. They were dating for a little while. It came out that she broke up with him because she didn't want to peg him or stick her fingers in his
Now.
Okay, guys.
This is good,
y'all gonna cut off serious conversation for that nonsense.
This is
you have been very vocal about that as well.
Listen, I understand the tax of being a public figure is dumbass rumors like that, so I'm not even giving that any energy. You know what I'm saying?
I gasped at that.
Oh, you want a hug? Let me give my brother a hug, man.
Can we go back? Can we go back to the false allegations labeled against me?
You want a hug?
Okay, so these weren't false. The ones before this were.
You don't want a hug? You want me to hug you?
We'll get more into it. I'm Angela Yee, and that is your rumor report.
You want a hug?
So, yeah. I wish that you were able to see the visual. You could see that Charlamagne is clearly uncomfortable. One thing is definitely certain from this segment in the Breakfast Club is that he does know Aveon. And I personally believe that Charlamagne has been in Avion's ear. And in my opinion, he kind of wanted Aveon to come out and basically say these things about Kevin Hunter setting him up, you know, with this whole Jessica Reed thing, rape allegations and things like that. So they do know each other. He didn't seem upset. In one, I didn't even see any kind of like anger or frustration out of Charlamagne that Aveon spoke out. You would think that he would probably be like, you know, he wants him to shut up, but it didn't seem like that way to me. It just seems like they definitely know each other and that it's almost like he was cool with Aveon speaking out, because if you listen to Tasha K's interview, Aveon didn't say anything about Charlamagne that he knew he shouldn't say about Charlamagne. You see, he just really kind of shut it down like, oh, well, you got to ask Charlamagne that. Charlamagne needs to answer for that. So they definitely are cool with each other. And they definitely have been talking all the way up until recently All right. And I'm sure that Charlamagne knows that Tasha K definitely have it in for him, because Tasha K believes that he did, in fact, sexually assault Jessica Reed. And Aveon doesn't. All right. And I think that it's kind of like, it's a setup. That's how I look at it. It's like Aveon went on there on behalf of Charlamagne, because to me, what was the point of doing a part 2? That's what I'm saying. He said all he needed to say about Kevin Hunter in the first part of the interview. So that's why when I saw that he was coming back for a part 2, I was just trying to figure out why. What did he need to come back for? He said all he needed to say when it comes to Kevin Hunter, but apparently he didn't, because part 2 was more about Charlamagne. And I honestly think Charlamagne had a hand in him going ahead and talking to Tasha K, even though I know Charlamagne don't even mess with Tasha K like that. I gotta get up to Tasha K, though. I know a lot of people don't care for her, but she has definitely broken a lot of this Wendy Williams news, and she has been on this whole Sharina Hudson thing for a long time. Since I've been watching her early 2017, she's been talking about Wendy Williams' husband, Kevin Hunter, and Sharina Hudson. So I gotta give it to her for actually putting this stuff out. So anyway, do you guys believe these allegations? Do you believe Aveon Hunter? And what did you guys think of the interview? Go ahead and let me know in the comments, and enjoy your wins.